Most of the time, we can select an entity by simply clicking on it. What do we do, though, if we have several entities sitting on top of each other? In this lesson, we're going to look at a selection method called cycling. Cycling allows us to select objects that may be hidden beneath other objects. On my screen, I've got a series of squares. Each one is a different color. The first thing I'm going to do is take these squares and stack them on top of each other. Let's launch the move command. I'll grab this square and right-click. We'll pick it up from the endpoint and place it here. I'm going to go right back into the move command by right-clicking and selecting repeat move. We'll grab this square and right-click. We'll pick it up from the endpoint and place it to the endpoint here. Now, an even faster way to launch your previous command, just hit your space bar. That takes me right back into move. I'll select this square and right-click. We'll pick it up from here and place it here. Finally, I'll hit space bar. We'll grab this square and right-click. We'll pick it up from the endpoint here and place it here. Now that these guys are stacked up, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. What I'd like to do first is move the red square out of the pile. Now that's going to require me to select it. Here's my problem. Since these entities are all on top of each other, each time I click, I guarantee I'm not going to grab the red square. Let's hit escape. And let me show you how I can select the square by using a method called cycling. I'm going to launch the move command, and I'm going to pick to select my square just like I always do, but I'm going to do one additional thing. I'm going to hold down my shift key and my space bar on my keyboard, and then I'm going to click. And then I'll take my hand off the keyboard. Take a look at the command line. AutoCAD says cycle on. I have just turned on cycling. That means every time I left-click my mouse, AutoCAD will cycle through each of the entities that was beneath my pick box. So I can left-click until I see the red square. Once it's highlighted, I can hit the Enter key on my keyboard to accept it. And then I'll right-click to finish my selection. And we'll pick him up from the endpoint here. We'll pan over. We'll place him over here. Let's back up a little bit. Let's try and rotate the white square. I'm going to launch the rotate command. At the select objects prompt, I'm going to hold down shift and the space bar. Now, if you've got a timing problem like me, make sure you hold the shift key first before you hit the space bar, or you'll get dumped out of the command. Both of those keys are pressed down. I will click my square and then I will release the keys. Now, fortunately, I was lucky. It went right to the white square, but just so we have a little repetition, let me left click a few times. We'll cycle through until we find it again. I'll hit enter to accept it. I'll right-click to finish my selection, and we'll rotate him from the endpoint here, and we'll bring him up here. We can use this cycling method with any AutoCAD command that asks us to select objects. Let me show you where we might use this in a real-world example. I'm going to back up, and we'll pan over. Let's center this geometry on screen. Let's make the assumption I'm using AutoCAD to do some mapping. Now, this is a very general map, but it still suits our purpose nicely. Basically, I've got a large shape that's divided into smaller shapes. Now, I'd like to find the area of each of these smaller shapes. And the ones on the outside are easy because I can select them just by grabbing this outer line. Let me hit escape. Unfortunately, the guys on the inside are a little more difficult. It seems no matter how many times I click, I just can't select Nevada. I'm going to hit escape. Let's select that shape using cycling. Now, I'm at the command prompt. I'm going to hold down shift and space bar, and I'll click this edge. And then I will left-click. AutoCAD cycles through all of the entities that fell beneath my pick box. This happens to be the one I want, so I will right-click to accept it. Then we'll go over to our property changer. And if I come right down here, I can see the area is approximately 108,000 square miles. Now, you may be asking, how do you know those units represent miles? I know this because when I set up my drawing, I went to the Tools tab, and I selected my Units icon, and I set this drawing such that each unit equals 1 mile. Using the cycling selection method, we can easily select our entities even if they're buried beneath a stack of other line work.